welcome back, but this is actually my first YouTube video. This is soft launch right now. My name is Corinne. I love Project Sekai. As you can see, I actually have every character plushie except for the one we're going to talk about today, and that's Mizuki. Mizuki Focus Event number 5. Kind of went viral, not gonna lie, and I have thoughts. Now, first, we have to get this out of the way. I am not transgender, okay? Cis woman. And that's gonna be important because of the themes in the Mizuki5 event story. What I do have is perspective when it comes to storytelling. Yeah, I'm not a published author, but I think I have enough to speak about this. I have Project Sekai knowledge, and I also have political brain rot. Sorry guys.
The two P's that you would never want to cross. Project Sekai, politics.
I know a lot of the transphobic talking points. I know what they're gonna say, I know what they have said. We need to talk about that and how that affects our story. We're gonna start from the very beginning. No, like the beginning. Because some people don't even know what Project Sekai is. Let me tell you a story.
Project Sekai is a rhythm game that follows 5 main bands. The one that we're going to talk about today is Night Chord. Even though it's a rhythm game, there are weekly events, and each event has a story that goes along with it with a main character. It is also a gacha game, which means that you can spend currency to roll to get cards that correspond with the event. Mizuki is a 16-year-old student who lives in Shibuya, Japan. She joined the band Night Chord at 25 o'clock after making a music video for Kanada Yorisaki.
Hi!
She likes french fries and cute clothes, especially pink, and hates mushrooms and spicy food. Enna Shinonome is her closest friend and is the artist of the band. Enna has a sharp tongue and can be jealous sometimes, but it's obvious that she cares about her friends. This band is mainly representing the dark side of Vocaloid songs. Each character has wanted to disappear, which means commit suicide. Each of the characters have deep and troubling issues. Kanade's mother is dead, and her father is in the hospital after having memory issues from an anxiety attack. Enna wants to be an artist, but constantly thinks she isn't good enough, which is not helped by her father, who is a professional artist who says she does not have the talent. And Mafuyu's mother has taken control of her life so much that Mafuyu doesn't even know how to taste. She's just an empty vessel. And as for Mizuki's problem, well...
I'm gonna try to compile the evidence as cohesive as I can. This is sort of important. It's important to the lore of what Mizu5 is, but don't use this to like win arguments, okay? It's not gonna happen. We're gonna talk about that later. You should still know this because it gives context, because no one knows what the fuck is going on right now. So, the beginning of their story, we're not starting at the birth, don't worry, is middle school. In the event, and now this ribbon is tied, we see Mizuki when they went to middle school. We see them wearing the boys' uniform with shorter hair and a deeper voice.
あれって同じクラスの。はーい。ああ、めんどくさいな。
I mean, even with just that, you can draw a lot of conclusions, but we have more to go. With that event came the song ID Smile. The ID stands for identity, and it has a super feminine pink music video, and it's about finding yourself. Okay? Alright, Mizuki's gender in her official bio is literally question mark. Come on, guys. I can't make this up. I can't make this up that people are still like, sis? every other character that is cis has a gender except for Mizuki. Like, be so for real right now. And then there's another song called Villain, which is about being male to female transgender. It's sung with Mizuki and Mafuyu. Now, your feelings on Mafuyu being trans is mostly headcanon. I think she was added into that song because there isn't really solo, songs in the game. It's usually a duo, and if it's solo, it's a cover. So this had a 3D music video. So I think they added Mafuyu because it's still about finding identity. The song talks about wearing boy clothes in front of other people and like hiding yourself. And that is very close to Mafuyu's story. But Mizuki has a bunch of lines in there. One of them, she literally says, "Don't be afraid, there are a bunch of genders out there." Kidding me? I can't believe we're having this debate if they're transgender at all. I mean, I was really happy with this because Japan is not as progressive as I thought they would be. Gay marriage isn't even legalized there yet. So for Mizuki to be hiding this much, it makes sense, and it's very bold for the writers to be doing this. A part of Japanese culture is kind of being in line. Like, you don't want to stick out too much. It's kind of traditional. So that is where Mizuki's story really comes to light and becomes much more special than I think a cross-dressing story would be. Cross-dressing is fine. Whatever identity you have is fine. I just think that a story about a transgender person and living in a place that is not so accepting and a school that isn't accepting is so much more powerful. And it is so much more in line with the whole disappearing narrative, right? This is something my mom actually pointed out when I was showing her the initial Night Court story, and I was telling her about Mizuki's possibly being trans. She said, I would rather the story about her being trans than being a cross-dresser because it is that much more impactful. Suicide is a thing that happens to transgender people, and suicide attempts a lot. And is so much closer to her identity than cross-dressing is. It feels like it's finally on par with everyone else's story. I mean, there are crazy circumstances that these high schoolers go through. And if Mizuki's was just cross-dressing, it feels not on the same level. Because then you have some of those gender norms that come in, but when it comes to being trans, it's about who you are in your actual body. So it would be so much better if they were trans from a story point. And I trust the Project Sekai people to be good at writing stories. I do, I trust them. And in terms of pronouns, with the English version, it's just they. If any pronouns at all. I don't think their bio has pronouns. I think I've looked at this before. But when it came to like characters, it's like when they're talking about it in like the issues tab, they use they. So pronouns are gonna be a big thing in here because of people thinking that Mizuki is a boy, but never ever using he, him pronouns. Ever. I guess people think that boku, it's a word for I in Japanese. They think that it means like a he pronoun, but that's actually not fully true. When it comes to the Japanese language, it's a little less binary. It's mostly used by men, but also like tomboyish, tough girls use it too. And so I think that Mizuki's a little fluid, that she just doesn't care and she'll use whatever pronoun she wants. So that's not evidence. That's not a pronoun that is strictly male-based, okay? All right, that's all of the evidence I can think of now. There might be some other song lyrics that people take, like in Phony, when Mizuki has a line about artificial flowers being better, but I think I got the bulk and the most important parts. So now, here we are, Mizu5, the event. It started with a picture of Mizuki looking very shocked. Very, very, very shocked. And this threw the fandom over because there has been nothing like this before. And actually a big theory that was going around at the time was that Mizuki's clothes were being burned in front of her because there were like little wispies. Thank God that didn't happen. It's still pretty bad though. We still all thought it was about the gender because we've been waiting for this. Again, all of this buildup, it would have to happen at some point because there was a secret. We knew she had a secret. And come together, all that knowledge, it had to be this. So, spoilers. Okay, you probably knew there were spoilers, but I'm just saying that now. On the rooftop after a school event, these two boys approach Mizuki's best friend, Enna. And they say, "You've known Mizuki for a long time, right? Are you a guy too?" And that is when Mizuki makes that face, and Enna's card is her reaction. And in the story, there's like a flashback from a bunch of moments they had together. And then Mizuki runs away. That's a pretty big moment. And now we're gonna dissect that because people think that male student A's word is gospel. I don't know why they're taking his, okay, I know why, it's because they're fucking stupid. But if you break that line down, first of all, it's already bad that he outed Mizuki. That is not something you do. Like, the first thing you say when you see someone's friend is talk about gender? What the fuck? No one does that. No one does that. And second is the guy comment. The student is already bad. Alright, I already don't like him for outing Mizuki and also insinuating that Enna is a guy, because that is a transphobic mindset. It's that, like, fear, you know? It's why we have book bans, because people think that being transgender is contagious, and that's kind of what he was getting out there. And so it's like, why the hell are people being like, yeah, Mizuki's a guy, because male student A, faceless NPC said so. No, like, it's describing like, there are transphobic people everywhere. There are probably more transphobic people than not, okay? So it is not having a perfect ending. It is showing the bad. And that gets me into the story part. I was talking to an individual on Twitter about this, about they were talking about a miscommunication trope when it came to Mizuki not coming out, and I had to disagree. Solely because it's not miscommunication. It's having the fear of coming out. That's not miscommunication, at least in my definition. You know, miscommunication would be trying to communicate, but then that communication is twisted in a way that was not intended. That is what's going on here. I also saw in a tweet that someone was like, I wish they didn't go this route of having Mizuki outed. And I can see that. I see that because people want media that they can look at and they can feel hopeful about, that they can be happy about, that this character that they love and they relate to is also loved. But it's not always like that, especially when coming out, and especially coming out as trans. I have not seen media that has outed a trans person like this before, like in this way with that reaction. There might be, but I thought their route was very interesting because it hasn't been done before a lot. And this game, it's not really for kids. It's kind of E for everyone. Like they don't say the word suicide. They say disappear. But we have to remember that this is Night Court, all right? This is the band where everyone has emotional problems. All right, if it was more Jump, of course we would be happy. Of course everything would come together because that is the vibe of the band. But if you come in listening to Night Court thinking that things are gonna go well, your expectations are wrong. So I think that it fits in with their story. It is very gut-wrenching, okay? I think they did a good job. I think that the perspective of Mizuki, the horror on her face, it really goes in, and I've seen a lot of people say that this is a good representation of what it's like to be outed. This is the fear that people have, the fear of not being loved, and the fear of being hated by someone you're very close with. Now, the insinuation that Mizuki is a cross-dresser comes from transphobia, because these people just don't want any kind of trans anything, no matter if it's something that they like, that they've seen, they just hate trans people. And what the fuck am I saying? And as a response to this, people have been saying, we need the next event to be Mizuki going to a pride parade on a pride float, holding transgender flags and screaming I'm transgender. And I know where they're coming from. I know what they're feeling. But I don't think that's worth it. I don't think it's a good use of time. I think it will impact the story. And that is because you cannot please transphobic people. We want to have that moment where we prove them wrong. Look, we're right. This character is trans. But that doesn't matter to them. If that does happen, their talking point is,
oh, you forced it. That wasn't the original story. The company just felt pressure to appeal to you.
you can't teach people empathy. It's hard, okay? It's hard to talk to a transphobic person because their brain is just full of rocks, okay? But insisting that this character is trans, I don't think that's the most important part. That's not the underlying issue. The underlying issue is transphobia, but I don't think that should affect your story. I think they should do what they were intending, you know? There's still room for more, because in the 5th ENA event, this is gonna have to come up eventually, okay? But I still believe from a story writing perspective, it should be show, don't tell. And I had some people say on Twitter that they're frustrated because they want a concrete answer so that they can prove to these people that they're wrong. And I get that. But it shouldn't impact your story. They're not making this story to prove transphobic people wrong. They're making this story to have a character that has emotions, that can be developed and explored by their audience who might share this. Alright, the Vocaloid community is pretty queer. And I think that they should stick to that. Alright, I hope you enjoyed. Got a little deep, I think. This is just kind of what happens though when you take a step forward. So I hope that maybe I can make lighter videos in the future. I want to make some choreographies to some Project Sekai songs and dance to them. And just make a lot more Project Sekai content. So if you want to see that, maybe you should subscribe, like, comment, and follow me on Instagram. Or whatever you want. Thanks for watching.